Magic Masses. I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. I Want It All was one wild and crazy show. We start out the night with Johnny Malanga, who used to manage Kill the Magic, and he announced to the crowd, he actually works behind the scenes and he helped make it possible for the music to work, and they now have a microphone with a wire. And so the only thing they didn't book was a ring announcer. Lo and behold, Shane Fair, who's sitting right in the front row, jumps up, takes off his jacket, he's got his tuxedo on right then and there, and he ring announced the show, and he is now the ring announcer for Pro Wrestling Magic. I will have to say, I will miss Scotty Cerruti as ring announcer. I will say that. So Shane's welcoming the crowd and all, and he introduced the wonderful Erica Mason Kapala to come inside the ring and to sing the national anthem. Erica, kudos to you for telling everyone to stand up and remove their hats before you started singing. And thankfully nobody decided to kneel, unlike many football players in the NFL have done. And while I'm on the subject, Erica, I don't know if Pro Wrestling Magic would ever consider doing a karaoke event or shindig someday. But I know you would probably jump at that as well as I would. But we get on with the action as we have a 6-man tag team match to open up the show, as we see the trio of Jason Vera, Prince Josiah, and Chase. I apologize for not getting his last name. As they were ready to battle with Vargas, and out comes the Dungeon of Gloom's Jay Enterprise, and he introduces Vargas's partners, Nick Patton, the formerly known as CPA, and Carlo Vice. He's under a new name now. And the match was on, and Vargas, Patton, and Carlo were victorious in the 6-man tag team match. Next up was tag team action, where the winning team would get to represent Pro Wrestling Magic over in the United Kingdom against LDN. And we saw the tag team of Insanely Rude, Shane Bernardo and RT or RJ Rude, as they defeated the Zoltan, Chris Cage, and the Superstar Whiplash. Glad to see the Zoltan got booked and people were chanting, please come back, for them. So hopefully they will come back to Pro Wrestling Magic in the future. And Insanely Rude will now get to go overseas and represent Pro Wrestling Magic against LDN. Then I guess we were on to the main show now, as we saw Lucky 13 defeat the Kid, Vinny Pacifico. And Pacifico came out to the Backseat Boys' Larger Than Life song. I said it once and I'll say it again, folks. Was not big on the boy band craze in the late 90s, early 2000s. I still say they were all a bunch of sissies. I wish Pacifico, still used him coming out to Ace of Base's Beautiful Life, a song from the mid-90s. But Lucky 13 finally got his first win in company history.
On top of the blueberry.
Next up, we saw the Embassy, Prince Nana and Jimmy Wave, challenge the Psycho Drivers, Everett Cross and Smiley, for the Tag Team Championship. And pretty good match, and Nana got to do a promo before the show. Nana is definitely one of the great promo men in the history of independent wrestling. And I will say, the match was on, and the Psycho Drivers were victorious, defeating Nana and Rave to retain the Tag Team Championship. But then out comes Stephen J. Higgins, and he said, this is a gauntlet match, and this is a gauntlet match. And now said the only thing was missing were a bunch of heroes. And out came John Tella, Evan Myers, and Keep Calm Jason Carrion. And I don't know which two members of the it was Tella and Evan Myers, or Tella and Carrion, who were really in the match. Because at one point, the returning Trixie was being held back by Higgins at one point. And Tella and any other hero, Tella ended up pinning Smiley, and as a result, Higgins Heroes became the new Pro Wrestling Magic Tag Team Champions. Next up was the first qualifying match for the Keys to the Kingdom tournament, and the theme of this one was Opportunity. And in this match, we saw the Jersey Muscle Jock Steve Gibkey defeat Juan Francisco de Coronado. Try saying that 3 times fast, Magic Masses. Magic himself, and the current Keys to the Kingdom holder, MV Young. And as a result, Steve Gibkey is the first person in the Keys to the Kingdom finals, which is taking place later this year at Kingdom Come.
Really?
Then Shane Fair introduces El Presidente Sanchez to the ring for the first ever Sanchez Open Invitation. And Sanchez is in the ring, and he, referee Nick Shin, and even Shane Fair partook in some air guitar in the ring.
That was fun.
And I gotta say, to referee Nick Shin, you're like a referee of all trades. I mean, you can count, you can do air guitar, you can dance. Could there be anything you have yet to show the Magic Masses, Nick? But then, at that point, Shane Fair introduces Sanchez's opponent, and the guy who comes out, and Shane had to repeat himself like 2 or 3 times, as the individual who accepted the challenge was known as Abs. Not Joey Abs from the Mean Street Posse. But Sanchez, let's just say, he made mincemeat out of Abs. And then Sanchez asks Shane Fair for the microphone. He says, "I haven't even broken a sweat." And he says, "Is anybody else back there who wants it?" But then as we're waiting, all of a sudden, the outfield's Your Love starts playing. That was the original tune we had for Karaoke Magic. And out came the returning AC Baby, Ace Romero. The match was on, and kudos to Gail for recording this match. I couldn't believe that one spot where Sanchez jumped off the top rope. His feet were right on top of like Romero's shoulder, where his shoulders meet the neck, and Romero powerbombed him, and Sanchez kicked out of that. Eventually, Sanchez got the win with a moonsault stomp off the top rope, and I wonder if something went wrong because Nick Shin counted to 3, and initially he said 2. Something, I don't know, went wrong there, unless they ended the match sooner. At that point in time, we went to intermission, and we finally, at long last, we had our Magic Masses family portrait. Now, I know some are a little let down that they were not in the picture. And yeah, I'm going to mention who you are. I mean, Adam, you were let down. Omar, you were let down. By the way, Omar, contrary to what you told me over at Dante's, I was able to eat that whole meatball Parmesan hero. Dante's has got some awesome food. And while on the subject of Omar, it seems like so many in the crowd give you so much hell, man. Hopefully we will have more Magic Masses family portraits in the future, I hope. I mean, you know, let's see, Adam wasn't in it, Omar was not in it, Gail was not in it, Pete and Jamie were not in it. I mean, I can't be expected to remember everything. And also, Elliot. You are not the first person to make fun of my handwriting. Now, back to the action. We had, next match we saw Gabby Gilbert, who came out to Chris Cross's Jump, which was out when I was in high school, as she challenged the answer to your prayers, Ariella Nix for the Women's Championship. Nice match. Gabby Gilbert, I remember her days in other promotions as Roxy Cotton. And Nix managed to defeat Gabby to retain the Women's Championship. And after the match, Nix took the microphone and she said it was that the victory was for Katrid, who relinquished the title. Was it last month or in February? I can't remember right now. At that point, it was time for Higgins' Heroes and Stephen J. Higgins himself, as they had a 4-on-3 handicap match with Kill the Magic, Mike Donovan, and the American Murder Society's Aaron Bradley and Steve Off. The match was on, and at one point, I forgot who took a hold of that kendo stick. He hit Bradley right in the leg with it, and I think Bradley, that knee's been hurting him for some time. The last few shows, he's been limping around, and Bradley had to be brought backstage, and eventually Donovan and Off, they went to the back with him, but then Higgins takes the microphone and says, "Hey guys, what are you doing? This match is still going." So Donovan and Off come back to the ring, and it was now a 4-on-2 handicap match. Eventually, Off and Donovan took it to the crowd with John Tella, Evan Myers, Jason Carrion, and Carrion. Eventually, Bradley comes from the behind the stage and does an awesome dive over a bunch of fans who were in the way. And Bradley, man, kudos to you, man. That was, bad leg at all. That was a heck of a dive. And what's amazing is, what was amazing amongst that crowd brawl, I don't know who grabbed my chair and threw it off, but the funny thing was, during that brawl with all the chairs and the people parting like the Red Sea, Moses effect there. I'm not just saying that because it is Easter Sunday, and yes, happy Easter to the Magic Masses, the roster, the staff and management of Pro Wrestling Magic. All right. That my camouflage bag that most of you fans know that I bring with me to the shows, it was untouched. Nobody touched it. It stayed in its place. I couldn't believe that. Amongst the chaos, Johnny Malanga, the former manager, Kill the Magic, comes out. He comes up to the apron. He's arguing with Higgins. In the meantime, Donovan, Off, and Bradley, they all in the ring, and they got Higgins all to his lonesome. And I forgot what Aaron and Steve did, but Donovan nailed Higgins with his Southside knockout and pinned him. And the funny thing was, I forgot to mention this, before the match started, Off had the microphone, and he made an offer to put the tag belts on the line if they won, and that Donovan would be put into the Key to the Kingdom tournament later this year at Kingdom Come. By virtue of the victory, American Murder Society, Steve Off, and Aaron Bradley are now 2-time tag team champions, and Mike Donovan is now the second person in the Key to the Kingdom finals. And also, Off took the microphone and offered to defend the tag team titles against former champions Psycho Drivers at the Violence and Suffering Return show, which is taking place Sunday, April 28th in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that show. And Orlando, got your last name, pal. I will message you between now and the 28th if I change my mind or not. And it was great talking to you, Orlando. And on the heels of all this, and by the way, Donovan, and he basically batted 1,000 with that kendo stick on poor Stephen J. Higgins. His back was all bruised and messed up. And eventually Donovan calls out, tells Higgins, you just got your ass kicked. Now you get your ass kicked by this guy. And while waiting for someone to come out, all of a sudden, the Dungeon of Gloom, J Enterprise, Nick Patton, and Carlo, they abducted Bob, the head of the security of Pro Wrestling Magic. I don't know what this means. And the funny thing is, We don't know what's going on with Hoos Traplash, who they abducted at Under Pressure last month. But then Hot Dog Starks comes out with TK Luther the Cookie Pimp for the hot dog eating contest to determine who would have control of Pro Wrestling Magic. And I think Riley Madison, she's trying to help Higgins up, and referee Nick Shin called for the gong. Nick, I don't know why you called for the gong. It wasn't a wrestling match. It was a hot dog eating contest. And I don't know if he tried to force feed Higgins, but Higgins was like so out of it, so limp as a biscuit, shall we say. Yeah, that's a Lottie-ism, folks. You heard of Rhodesisms with the late Dusty Rhodes? When I say limp as a biscuit, that's a Lottie-ism right there. And yeah, someone could hashtag that while you're at it, folks. But then Starks, all he did, he ate one hot dog, and Higgins was down, and Shin called for the gong, and as a result, Hot Dog Starks won the hot dog eating contest, and he now has won control of Pro Wrestling Magic as we know it. Starks gets the microphone from Shane Fair, and he says, you know, Higgins, I'm your boss now, and I could either just fire you right now or put you in matches you don't want. But then all of a sudden, Starks fired Higgins right then and there, and then another guy, not Lawrence, but the other guy who does security, they made Higgins go leave through the front door. Next up was a great six-way matchup in which the lit superstar Sebastian Cage defeated Sonny Kiss, Killian McMurphy, Joe Scott, Overtime TJ Crawford, and Dan Gallagher to become the first ever Pro Wrestling Magic Junior Heavyweight Champion. Great to see a great talent like Sebastian Cage get a championship. And then in the main event of the evening, we found out what happens when monsters collide. As the Meadowlands Monster with Zach Amico defeated Adam Payne to win the Dark Arts Championship, ending Adam Payne's historic 16 months dominant reign as Pro Wrestling Magic Dark Arts Champion. After the match, Chris, who's behind the scenes at Pro Wrestling Magic, I don't know if he's one of the owners or founding fathers of the company, he comes out and he says, many of you know him as the Meadowlands Monster, many of you know him as Lou, know that he does ring crew for us and other companies, and really helps out and all this other stuff. And he basically presented the belt to the monster, and then all of a sudden Evan Myers comes out, and I don't know if he's giving a petty clap or a half-hearted applause to Monster for winning the championship, and that resulted in Monster flipping the bird at Myers. And by the way, I gotta say, Zach Amico, I've seen the promos of you and the Monster together, and I gotta say, you certainly have the influence of the late Paul Bearer in your promos. Well, personal notes time. Great seeing Shane Fair, Elliot, Phillip, Mike McNicholas, Gail, Adam, Phillip, I don't know if I mentioned him earlier, Pete, Jamie, Bill Parham, Jason Bob 87, Sherry Ann, I'm probably going to leave somebody out. Oh, Bruno, how could I forget you, man? You and the Mayo. Okay. Now, one thing I'd like to address right now, I know there was a sign or a notice placed on the table with where the ladies handle the money as everybody comes in, and saying that, you know, the product is a PG-13 show. And I don't know, they're trying to tone down the topic for the small children in the crowd, which I can understand. Now, I mean, granted, you really don't want the crowd cursing, but when is it? But you're gonna let the roster or the wrestlers continue to curse? I mean, just last month at Under Pressure, right before Mike Donovan came out, Stephen J. Higgins said to somebody in the crowd, "Fuck you too." I mean, it's okay for the roster to curse and not us fans. Last time I checked, we got freedom of speech. For the second month in a row, there was no Facebook Live video before the show started by me. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot Omar. Yeah. Forgot about him. It was great seeing. Okay. Time for the memorable quotes. "You're not young, dumb, and broke." Bruno to insanely rude. "Maybe they are." Literally. Me in response. "He's got a point." Front row Mikey Mickendro in response to what I said. "GTFO, GTFO." The crowd after Starks fired Higgins. Alright. Well, Pro Wrestling Magic returns on Saturday, May 18th with Hammer to Fall. Unfortunately, I will not be there. However, I will be back with Pro Wrestling Magic on Saturday, June 15th. I believe Joey Ryan is returning that night. I mean, he did say that back in February he was going to return June 15th. But I gotta say, this was quite I forgot to mention, this was the Pro Wrestling Magic's 4th Symbol of Excellence. Symbol of Excellence! 4th anniversary show, and man, what a party this was. Damn. There's something else I gotta say here. Oh, after the show was over, oh man, we're outside and got to talk with Mike was talking with Sanchez, and Ariel and Nix noticed me and wanted me to put her over, and I'm starting to think, folks, that these videos that I do is becoming a case of what have I done, because I didn't really expect wrestlers to watch my videos. I mean, I really do it for the fans, as you know. I didn't really think the wrestlers were going to end up watching my videos and such. And I'm starting to think maybe I'm starting to think that maybe I keep bringing this selfie stick with me for nothing at Pro Wrestling Magic. Maybe should I keep bringing this or stop bringing it? I mean, I really want to use it at a show someday, maybe for a possible future family portrait. Oh, I forgot. Thank you to Ref Master, or is it Mr. Gigantes, for taking that great portrait of us, and what an awesome group of fans, and thank you, Pro Wrestling Magic, for bringing us all together. Oh boy, what else I can think of here? I'm surprised. And also on the subject, Gail did win the grand prize of the raffle, and she actually flew solo. Callie was not at the show. Her granddaughter was not at the show. Yeah. Oh, and for the second month in a row, I was unable to buy the Pro Wrestling Magic T-shirt because they had no. Jake was there. He told me there were no 2X T-shirts. Darn. And I hope when I do come back June 15th that they'll definitely be available in my size, which is 2X. And I would like to see for June 15th Sanchez and Dan Moff one-on-one for the heavyweight title, June 15th. one last time. Hold that thought, folks. Now, of course, I hope maybe someday to have a full-fledged pro wrestling magic song with not just everything sounding like the chorus. But I was surprised. I'm glad I found this. It's a metal version of the song by a band known as Estatora. I apologize if I got that name wrong. So we're going to wrap this video up with this very metal cover of America's You Can Do Magic. Hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah. Okay, Magic Masses. See you June 15th.